The Ingalls building, located in Cincinnati, Ohio, was a spectacular feat of civil engineering at the turn of the 20th century. The Ingalls building was the first reinforced concrete skyscraper in the world. Additionally, it was the tallest building in Cincinnati at the time it opened in 1903, standing at 16 stories high, 210 feet tall. The origin of concrete construction began as early as the 2nd century in Rome, where concrete was used to build historical spectacles such as the Pantheon, which still stands today. The concrete the Romans used was formed of a mixture of volcanic ash and salt water, which provided the strength necessary to support the structures they built. The United States saw its own uprise of concrete use in construction during the 19th century. During this period, the idea of using metal products such as iron and steel to reinforce concrete spread amongst builders, engineers, and inventors. It was discovered that metal adhered to concrete firmly, and that by placing rods of iron or steel into the concrete, it would improve the overall strength and durability of the building material. In 1884, a man named Ernest Ransome, an English engineer from San Francisco, took interest in studying reinforced concrete and found a way to further improve its strength. His innovation involved taking rods of metal, such as iron and steel, and twisting them throughout the cement so that it extended from one end of the substance to the other. This mechanism allowed for a stronger bond between the concrete and rebar. Towards the end of the 19th century, high-rise buildings were built using steel frames. Concrete was found to have several benefits over steel in building construction, including being cheaper and of local material, requiring less heavy-duty loading, and fire resistance. Fire resistance was a particularly important feature. During this time, emergency services such as 911 were not available, which made building fires substantially more threatening compared to modern times. Therefore, using concrete in construction was appealing financially and in terms of fire safety. Construction of the Ingalls building began when businessman Melville E. Ingalls, president of the Merchant National Bank, commissioned the construction of a building to house his bank. The building was to be constructed of reinforced concrete and stand 16 stories high, a height which was unheard of for reinforced concrete structures at the time. Ingalls employed help from structural engineer Henry N. Hooper and architects Alfred O. Elsner and George M. Anderson to bring his vision to life. Construction of the building was delayed, though, due to high levels of skepticism among city officials who feared that the building would succumb to its weight. After 2 years, the project was finally approved, but doubts about its success remained. The primary materials that were used to construct the Ingalls building included twisted steel rebar and concrete, which was poured over the woven metal bars, forming the foundational structure of the building. Other materials were used to cover the exterior of the building, which allowed it to blend in with surrounding buildings. This was perhaps done to instill some comfort into skeptics of the concrete-based building. White marble was used on the first 3 floors. Gray brick covered the exterior of floors 4 through 15, and the exterior of the final floor was covered in glazed white terracotta. Architects Elsner and Anderson were inspired by Beaux Arts architecture in developing the design for the Ingalls building. This form of architecture has its roots in Greek and Roman architectural styles and was a dominating form of architecture in urban areas in the 20th century. It was a symbol of corporate wealth and power and was often seen in buildings such as offices, courthouses, churches, and other public buildings. Some features of Beaux Arts architecture found on the exterior of Ingalls building include columns, cornices, a flat roof, symmetrical facade, and grand size. In the interior of the building has retained a marble ceiling representing Beaux Arts architecture. The building was also designed to be a monolithic structure through the process of pouring fresh concrete over that which was partly set to contribute to the structural soundness of the building. The Ingalls building was constructed at the corner of 4th Street and Vine Street in Cincinnati's Central Business District, where it still stands today. The location of the building in the heart of Cincinnati's Central Business District was favorable for the purposes it held in the early 1900s and in modern days. The Ingalls building served as a first-class commercial building which hosted a variety of public services. These included a bank, stores, and ticket offices. The upper-level floors served general business offices. The Ingalls building had opened during the United States Progressive Era, in which the nation saw a boom in industry and mass consumerism, especially in cities. Commercial buildings, like this one, in cities allowed for goods from factories to be readily available for consumers. Melville E. Ingalls stated that he wanted this building to be an everlasting monument to Cincinnati, her progress and enterprise. In 1974, the Ingalls building was named a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. Ingalls building continues to serve the people of Cincinnati 121 years later, but holds a different purpose now. As years went by and people moved out of the city and into suburbs surrounding the city, so did banks, stores, and other places of public service. Now, downtown areas of cities appeal more to visitors than those who live in the area. Therefore, it is fitting that the Ingalls building be renovated into a Courtyard Marriott Hotel in 2019 so that it may continue to be service to those in Cincinnati.